Hi everyone, welcome to Riding Tiger with Arijit once again. And today I've got a very interesting lady coming all the way from a different part in a different time zone. Probably you have seen 14 hours time gap in my podcast when I'm in India. You have probably seen approximate 7, 8 hours time gap when I'm in Middle East. But today, right now, I'm doing this podcast from Calcutta, City of Joy from India. And my friend, she's all the way coming from a land of opportunity, land of glory, fortune, and she's wearing a beautiful necklace. So, Gabriella, welcome to Riding Tiger with Arijit, a podcast wherein we usually celebrate life as a concept of riding the tiger. So, when you start your life as a entrepreneur, as maybe a person who is just starting their life, maybe in the job, maybe as a consultant, you just feed that small baby a cup with milk, and eventually you have an opportunity to ride on the top of it. And now this tiger is roaring, but now it doesn't need milk. It is looking for raw meat, and that raw meat is money. So when you grow your tiger, you're riding on the top of it. Life doesn't give you an opportunity to make it small once again. Maybe you can adopt a new cub, but that's not very fortunate for many people. So when you started your life, we'll be more than happy to know about you, what you do, and perspective of your life for the audience. So regarding our audience, we have a spirited audience who are coming from the various different backgrounds. They are business people. They are mainly either investors. Some of the people, they are coming from universities. They are professor, students. So variety of different guys coming all together. So over to you, Gabriel. We'll be more than happy to learn about you and your work and talk a little more, of course.
Great. Thank you so much. It's wonderful to be here.
Super. So may I know what you do and what is your work is all about?
Well, I'm actually a coach. I started out 22 years ago as a life coach, but now I am specializing in relationships because a life coach can help anything about your life. I've helped people lose weight, make money, get jobs, but it always came back down to helping people get together with people and be with the people that they're with and be healthy for the people that they are being with. So that's my specialty now.
Super. But then you usually say that you are passionate about watching people to get success. So my quick
Yeah.
question to you would be, how do you measure success? What do you mean by success?
Excellent question. Okay, because one of the first things that I ask people is, what would you define as success? Because four different people could come to me with the exact same goal, something that they have in their mind in life, but what for them was success? Actually, most of the time, Arjit, it's just peace, their emotional peace and their happiness. And so when I tell people, you know what? You actually are born with a personality. So if you want to do a particular activity or have a certain element in your life, doing it in the way that's most natural for your personality, that is true success.
Brilliant, excellent answer. Even I have seen people making tons of money, but they are not happy inside. Some of the people, they have probably lost the path. Their family life is not that great. So when you coach someone, because you are a life coach, and of course, you probably see people in a complete different eyes altogether.
Yeah.
When you talk to such kind of people who have maybe minted money, but looking for help, crying for help, I would say, what are the in things that you do, and how do you heal someone? If you can, please share a little bit.
Yeah, well, actually, literally my very first client that long ago came to me we were standing in a coffee shop and he said, I've seen you around here. What kind of work do you do? And I thought, wow, as a coach, I have to have a summary of what I do. I say, you know what? I help people score in the game of life by giving them the tools and the strategy to make sure they make it to their goal. But he said, if you could tell me why I have a perfect life on paper. He was a district attorney. He was very good looking. He had a lot of money and he came from a great family. He said, I was never abused. I was never damaged. How can you help me figure out why I'm not happy? Because on paper, I have a perfect life. And I said, you know what? Let's go ahead and take a look at your personality, just see what you're naturally very good at and what makes you happy and what's easy for you. And so I figured out a few different things and I said, whoa, okay, there are 4 levels of your function. And right now, you're only on the second level. You need to get back up to the first level. He was actually an INTJ. Okay, I don't know if you're familiar with Myers-Briggs, but he basically was doing something in the law that he loved to do, but he had to be very socially interactive. He was an introvert. He didn't realize that. And so I said, okay, you love the law and you love helping people. Let's take a look at not only your time management, but also your energy and focus management. He ended up becoming a professor at a university. And he said, you know what? I love talking about the law, but I don't want to do it for more than 3 hours. Okay. And I said, you know what? As an INTJ, you can be, as a professor, someone who sits and studies and learns and thinks. You could be 50 years old and still learning and studying and thinking, so that the 3 hours a day, maybe up to 4.5, depending on your teaching venue, you can do very, very, very high quality and then take a step back and recharge.
That's
Do what really is good for you, but is easiest and most natural for you. Yeah, the money followed him because he was good at what he did, but the time and the energy of what he was investing in his work wasn't a job anymore. It was a career and it was his passion.
lovely. In fact, Gabriela, I have seen many people who are doing their job perfectly, but then sometimes they are really stressed. Even though
Yes.
they love their job, maybe for them the job is not job, that is their passion. I have seen such kind of people as well. But then at the end, they say that, Arijit, I'm stressed. I don't know how to relax myself.
Yeah.
How do you, what do you suggest to these people?
Okay.
Well, yeah,
Excellent. I love that you asked that because I use the example of ballet. I was about 7 years old when my ballet teacher said, you need to recenter. I said, what do you mean? Because I was falling and I was tripping, and she said, you need to get centered. I said, is that like balance? She said, no, balance is everything that's going on around you. Centered is what's going on inside of you. Where you are on the top needs to get to the center of your weight, which as a young girl, your weight distribution changes as you grow up. And then as you're on your the ball of your foot, this has to be in line with this, has to be in line with that. So when you are getting yourself to a point where then you can balance what's going on inside of you, you can move your arms and your legs and you can move around, but you're still going to be still. So find out what your center is. For some people, that is relaxation, just absolute silence. For some people, it's very high quality, intimate relationships. For some people, it's an activity that is their dominant function. When you know that you have taken time to get yourself centered around what is your core, it could be your values, it could be your beliefs, it could be your functionality, then everything else that you do can go around it and happen to make sure you're not compromising that high quality of functionality while you are maybe multitasking, perhaps. It could be in your relationships. Honey, I married a Mexican. I've got 15 brothers and sisters in law, and I have about 87 nieces and nephews. They're not going away. But my husband knows that when I need to recenter and say, okay, honey, I need a break, he can say, great, get back to your good quality place. So what you're giving isn't just high quality, it's not high quantity, it's high quality in a smaller, more balanced amount.
super. And when you're coaching someone, Gabriela, sometimes many people don't understand the difference between quality and quantity. Some people are polymath, so people call me as a polymath, right?
Mhm.
Polymath people, they can do things, multiple things in one time, and they do that at their best. Whatever they want
Yes.
to do, they will be doing that at their best. right?
Mhm.
It
Mhm.
depends on the person and the personality. But my
That.
question to you would be, when you deal with various different kind of personalities,
Mhm.
uh, I'm sure you have faced a situation where you faced people with horror, fear. Maybe you have faced people who are really happy, like the example that you give. But when
Yeah.
you face someone who have probably achieved one level, but then
Mhm.
they can't do the leap, they can't take the risk. It's not that easy to take a risk. Yeah. How do you suggest them? What is your suggestion? What is your three key things which you would love to tell these people?
Okay. Well, taking a risk, again, excuse me, anything change is a risk. Okay, because it's the unknown. Okay. So I tell them to tap into their tools and resources. And that's what I told my first client, having that equipment before you get into the situation that creates excessive stress. One of them is your support system. Excuse me. Know who is in your life that can give you the encouragement and they can facilitate you, that you can reach out to them. Know what those people are in your life, what their place are, and then what strengths and gifts and talents and abilities they have. So if you reach out to them and say, you know what, I really need your help, you'll know which kind of help to ask them for because you're actually tapping into their strengths and talents and abilities. And if they see that who they are and what they do makes you exponentially better, they will be grateful that you reached out to them. The other thing is um, milestones and rewards. And I tell people you have to, let's say your goal is to lose 50 pounds. That's kind of far away. So put milestones and then reward yourself to be able to say, okay, I got a little bit of progress. Just make sure your rewards aren't going to undo the progress that you made. Have
True.
a list of things that you can say to yourself, yeah, I did move forward towards my ultimate goal. And then I'm going to reward myself as affirmation and confirmation and to continue to keep my focus on whatever it is. But then I also tell people you need to have a shot in the arm. There are different things that sometimes you're just going to hit a wall or you're going to get mentally or emotionally in a very low quality state. You have to have tools, resources in the form of activities and different things that will give you just a chance to get out of the situation and say, okay, I'm going to put the mask on myself right now. Unfortunately, my generation put the mask on yourself before you help anybody else as me, 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 me. No, do something that's going to get you into a high quality. For me, it's Sudoku. And I like puzzles. And sometimes I like to watch sports while I listen to 80s music because if they're running around playing soccer with the rhythm of the music, I just love it. It's like a shot of caffeine for me. So if you have a shot in the arm and you have the resources in the form of the support system and you have the milestones with the rewards, that positive reinforcement not only gives you the momentum, but also keeps you going when you might hit a wall or the negativity that could be internal or external.
Brilliant suggestion. Uh, when you are talking in such kind of level, I would love to understand one basic thing. When you, anyone, when they're using their brain, there is a connectivity,
Yeah.
excuse me, with your brain, with the nature, and
Mhm.
that goes towards spirituality. When
Yeah.
somebody is a little bit of scattered, like they don't know what to do, they sometimes take the path of spirituality to come back to the normal life. That's the general thing.
Mhm.
Spirituality doesn't mean any kind of religion. Rather, it's a way of life. I would love to say it that way. So when you coach, uh, do you use such kind of methods? Do you ask your uh, I would say your consumers to go in
Mhm.
the path wherein they can be self-resilience? Do you suggest some of the tips, some of the meditations? So how do you do that?
Okay, actually, and it's in my book too. I have two different tools that I use. One is stream of consciousness, and the other one is dream journaling because I don't think dreams are going to predict the future. Some people, like my daughter, they have intuition that's like scary, eerie, creepy, good, accurate. But stream of consciousness is just you verbally vomiting everything in your brain. It's tough to see the forest for the trees because when your mind is going a mile a minute in every direction, you can't really see the whole big picture. So sometimes I have them write, sometimes I have them verbally express it. Everything that comes into your mind. So you're talking about this and this and this, and then you're saying the next thing that's going into your mind, and then again, and you go, "Whoa, wait a minute! I didn't even know that was there. That's really cool." But sometimes when you have a dream and it's like, "Wow, that was really crazy," if you write it down and you go, "Oh, because my dream is just my mind's way of working through whatever it was that happened the next day," but it's a metaphor, right? So, oh, so in that the pillow that was on the bed actually represented my mother-in-law or my grandmother. Or you know what, when I was eating something, that was my metaphor for spending time with my friends in a socially eating setting. That's actually the emotional nurturing. It's not just physical. So when I tell people, find out everything that's going on just by vomiting it all out with your words. Another one is find out what's really deeply inside of you that your mind is kind of working the pieces through by making a weird picture. Find out what's going on with you. Sometimes I stretch, and that helps me do that. When I'm stretching, I can get my thoughts together. Other people walk, other people, whatever it is that helps you do that, then it's definitely going to be worth it, the time that it takes.
So my next question to you would be, how do you define time, and what is space-time complexity for you?
Okay. So that's kind of two questions, but I basically say to I say to people, look, if you're good, healthy, you need to sleep 7 to 8 hours a night. Okay. If there's 24 hours in a day, you need to, that's 16, right, to 17 hours that you have of free time that you can manage. Now, what I tell people as a woman who is a wife and a mother, I have domestic, healthy, spiritual, and secular. I have domestic activities I do. I have healthy activities that I do, secular, which is my business, and spiritual. It's not just about the quantity of time that I spend, it's the quality. For me, since I'm an INTP, the physical activity, I can't do it past a certain point. My husband is an ESTP. He really needs to be physically active even while we're talking because his sensory is so needing to be stimulated. He listens more and better to me when he's cooking because his hand-eye coordination, and he doesn't look at me because I distract him. Whereas for me, it's doing the mental things of my business because my introverted thinking needs. And so when you say what is the foundation, and then what are the ingredients, and then what are the toppings, you need to keep it in the percentage of 50%, 25%, 15%, and 10%. When you're talking about domestic, which is your home life, that could be relationships, healthy, secular, and spiritual. What for your personality needs to be 50%, what needs to be 25%, what needs to be 15%, and what needs to be 10%. Then you can say very specifically and consistently to yourself, my lifestyle needs to afford me the freedom and the opportunity to spend and distribute my waking 16 to 17 hours every single day in a balanced and healthy way, mindfully proactive.
True. It's a brilliant answer, to be very honest. Not that easy to define it and then I would say pursue this segment. There are layers, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
There are various different layers of your brain, your life,
Yes.
and that work hand in hand with the mother nature. Um, I'm not gonna ask you a lot many questions because I guess you have answered a lot of things for any person to uh,
Good.
live on it and understand it. If
Yeah.
they want to connect you, if they want to probably get you as their coach,
Mhm.
what is the process that you follow? Is there a website? Is there a email ID
Yes.
you would love to share, please?
Yes. My website, I just got a new website. It's life-synergy-coaching.com. Okay. I also have a new email address. It's um, life synergy coaching now at gmail.com. Okay. And then you can always go to I'm on LinkedIn. So a lot of people when they want to see what's currently I'm doing and what's going on in my business, especially in my radio show, they can check me out on LinkedIn.com, Gabrielle Cardona, but also my radio show. I have a radio show on BBS. It's The Power of Synergy. That's pretty powerful when we're talking about synergy. I talk about relationships. Now it is a call-in show, so if you have a question, you can call the radio station during my broadcast, which is on Sunday mornings from 8 to 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And if you want to call in the station and ask me a question live during the show, it's 888-627-6008. Okay, so if you want to watch the archives, you can go to bbsradio.com/the power of synergy. The archives are halfway down the page. If you want to go ahead and click on that, I've got 5 years worth of radio shows. If you want to ask me a question, you're more than welcome to call in, or you can send me an email because not everybody can listen during the live broadcast. You can go ahead and always check out the old shows.
Brilliant. So I run a pretty large summit. It's called World Leader Summit, which I've been running successfully for last 5+ years. Initially started during the COVID time, and then we did physical summit in Dubai. We did an investor roundtable. We did times B2B meetings. That too in the Middle East, because that time only the Middle East was the only location where you can travel during the COVID time. After that, 2023, we did that again in Dubai jointly with our university. 2024, we did that in split it in Southeast Asia and online, both. This year also is going to happen. Every year it happens in November, December time. I'll be more than happy to have you as one of our speakers over there. It's
That would be cool.
yeah, it's a 15-minute slot for individual speech, and it's like around 101 countries people. They usually come from various different time zone. So it's a fun, it's a learning experience for everyone. Networking opportunities are huge. Happy to have you over there. And to be very honest, I'm really glad and really honored that you came in my podcast. It's an
Thank
interesting podcast which I'm running for last, I think, 7 years, if I'm not wrong.
you.
Um, yeah, so like really happy. And what I feel, Gabriela, I have been running businesses for last 27+ years. I started when I was 17 years old as a just school pass out person who wanted to create a company. I have my
Yes.
learning curve. I have my bootstrap stories. I have my stories of creating angel syndicates, stories of joining a VC fund as a partner, creating a business accelerator, helping, I think, more than 6,000 plus startups in my life from various different parts of the world. To be very honest, recently, 6.5 months back, we started a spiritual camp in Himalayas. And one of my friends, she traveled all the way from Turkey to Himalaya just to experience that. So
Nice.
yeah, Gabriela will be more than happy if you want. It's an open talk show. I'll be posting this in social media. All my links will be there
Okay.
with you as well. Yeah. So if you feel that we can collaborate anywhere, handshake in any part in life, we'll be more than happy, and I'll be honored to have you with me.
I would love that. Thank you so much.
Pleasure. Bye.
Bye-bye.